Hey folks, this is Binra here from the Open Choreo team at WSO2. And in this video, I'll show you how you can use the quick start guide to set up Open Choreo locally on your laptop or on your desktop and try it out. So to get started, we'll head over to the documentation site over at openchoreo.dev. We'll go into the documentation and then click on the quick start guide. Now, I'm on version 0.17, but you can use whatever version is available when you do try it out. So prerequisites for the quick start, you basically need Docker or any Docker CLI compatible runtime that includes Docker Desktop, Rancher Desktop, or Lima if you're on Mac OS. So I am on Mac OS and I have Lima running in the background, so I'll skip this step for now and jump straight into starting the dev container. So I'll go ahead, copy that, move to my terminal, paste that in. So this will bring up their quick start options. I'll go back to my documentation and copy the install instruction. So by default, this will install the control plane and the data plane. But if you do have a bit more time, I would suggest installing the observability plane and the workflow plane for builds. So you can do that with these two flags and with build. Hit enter, and that will start setting up a small K3D cluster locally, and then it will go ahead and install the Open Choreo Helm charts and wire everything together so you can experience Open Choreo locally. And if you're curious as to what's happening underneath, you can head back over to the documentation and have a look at this on K3D locally guide. This is a more step-by-step guide to installing Open Choreo with Helm and then wiring all the planes together. So if you're curious, you can have a look at it. And after the quick start, you can also try out this installation. There's also a multi-cluster installation. That is where the planes, like the data plane, the observability plane, can be distributed among multiple different Kubernetes clusters. But we won't get to that in this video. So if I come back to my terminal, it's going in it and installing all the prerequisites and the modules and the Open Choreo planes. And this will take a couple of minutes. So I'll be back once this is completed. Okay, I'm back. My installation is complete. And you can see that the installation script has given me some next steps. So I can try out the UI. My login credentials are over here. I can try out the OCC CLI for Open Choreo. I can set them up following these instructions. There are a few scripts here to deploy a few things. So what I'll do is I'll deploy this GCP demo. This is Google Cloud's demo that they use for a small e-commerce site. So we'll go ahead and deploy that. I don't need, so it's waiting for the deployments to come up. So in that time, I will head back. I'll open up the Open Choreo portal. So if I go into the catalog now, you'll see that I have a default project. I also see a GCP microservices demo project, which is basically what we just set up. And if I go in here, you'll see that there are about 11 microservices. Some of them are still coming up. But in the meantime, I can have a look at the cell diagram and it'll show me everything that I've just deployed and the network interactions between all the components. So I'll go back here, maybe jump into the front-end component. So this is what's exposed. And if I go into the deploy page, you can see everything that has been created underneath. All right. So I'll grab the invoke URL and open that up in a new tab. Now this will probably fail on the first try because all the services are still coming up. But while that loads, we can have a look at the logs, for example. So Open Choreo collects everything from the data plane as well as the observability plane and gives you a unified interface to manage your software delivery life cycle. There's also metrics, CPU, memory usage, and yeah, looks like our e-commerce store demo is up, and you can play around and also have a look at how everything behaves inside the OpenChoreo portal. Now that's just one example. You can also try out some of the other examples where we can build and deploy something from scratch. So for example, build and deploy greeter will pull in the source code from a Git repo over here, and then it will build it and then deploy it to the development environment in the data plane. If I go back to the catalog, it will probably show up in a second. Right. So give it a few seconds to show up. Start up the trigger. And there it is. So if I go into my greeting service, I look at the build, I can see the build logs. It's just starting off. Right. So this is basically OpenChoreo with the quick start guide. If you're interested in learning more, have a look around the documentation. And you can always reach us at this OpenChoreo Slack channel. You can find that in the documentation. Yeah. One thing that you might be interested in is you can look at OpenChoreo's MCP servers. So if you have Cloud Code or Codex, you can set it up. It's quite easy to just integrate the MCP servers, even with the quick start, and then ask you to deploy one of your applications from a Git repo and see how that goes. And that's it. See you next time.